Well, hello. How are we all doing here today? Obviously, we're here for another My Team episode. Of course we would be. We're back. There's the Harris Motorsport Road to Glory. Down Under was the episode 1. Wasn't the most great, wasn't the greatest episode, was it really? We had a DNF because we wanted just to save the components to be able to use them for an extended period of time so we can maybe get an extra race or so out of them, as well as just ensuring that there's no further damage to the car. The Victor Martin didn't do too well, and that's just basically saying how much of a concerning weekend it was. Share the results from last weekend. Unfortunately, one of our drivers DNF'd and the other one finished outside of the point. We can go and finally do some more research though. I'm going to speed this up. I do not want to bore you too long because this is quite the hefty and quite the long episode. An hour and 6 minutes long. So, don't really want to bore you with all of that, but nonetheless we can just go and start upgrading some facility improvements, etc. We can go to our tyre allocation. It's a sprint weekend, so we're going to use the harder allocation so we can get that extra set of hards for the Grand Prix if we wish. In terms of the drivers we are going to select though, we are going to go once again to Gabriella Mini, so that we can once again hopefully get the most out of the high rated AI. But here we go to the race weekend then. We are, well, you see here, we are having some rain expected for the end of the Grand Prix. No upgrades have been brought to this weekend. Again, the weekend preview about George Russell driving as the championship leader. In terms of the weather though, there's not a lot of rain, and there's a question of will the rain actually arrive. But nonetheless, we are going to go to free practice 1. So here we are in the opening and this only practice session of the season. Not the season, of the race weekend, I mean. So here we are in Shanghai. So I'm gonna show you here what I do with setups. I don't use actual setups. I tweak the preset setups to some specifications. I tweak the front wing. I change the wings, the tire pressures, and all of that, and also the fuel as well, so I can make sure that I have as much fuel, as little fuel as possible for the qualifying run. Tire pressures, I put the fronts to the max, and then I raise the rears a little to stop any overheating possibility. Obviously, I never like qualifying. You're meant to have your rear pressures basically to the minimum, but I like to run the same as I do in the race, just to ensure I don't forget to change anything. In terms of brakes, then I just change the brake bias a little bit. I keep the suspension and the geometry as the same as the transmission. In terms of the wings, then I put the front wing to 50 to help with front rotation, because of how much understeer these cars can produce. I always like to have a very pointy front on the car, and I pick the rear 30 so I can have at least a balanced rear as well. In terms of what practice program we are going to do, we are going to go and do the track accumulation one, because of the fact that we want to get as many resource points as possible. You only have an hour practice session, so you have to really try and get the maximum out of this. Nonetheless, on the soft tyres, it's only the tyre we've got. Using the red walled tyres to our maximum possibility with Gabriella Mini once again. Here we are looking just to see what we can feel comfortable with this HM26 car, I like to call it, because Harris Motorsports in 2026. But nonetheless, around the final corner we go and head down the main straight. We're going to keep it on medium battery through these sections, just so we can get a feel for the car without pushing it, and just so we can get a feel for the car under braking and having some battery on for the accelerations. We go through turn 1 and turn 2, a little bit of an oversteer through the mid part of turn number 1, not the most ideal thing. Then we go through turn number 3, a little bit wider than you would want, a little bit more moments as we then make our way down towards the hairpin. Straight mode enabled. Purple also far on the Louis Vuitton board. You brake around just before the 100-meter board, then rotate it through the hairpin, get it stopped nicely, and then apply the power. A little bit of a correction on the exit of the corner before we make our way towards the heart of sector 2. Now I like to call this, because of just how high speed and nicely flowing it is through the left, through the right, before you make your way towards the double left-hander, where this is probably one of the trickiest sections of the circuit because you're accelerating through mid-rotation and then you have to use the curbs to help with the rotation, which could then unsettle the car. Straight mode enabled once more as we go braking around just around the 100-meter board. Then we go through the apex of the left, then through the right. This is probably the trickiest corner and the most important corner on the circuit because it sets up this long back straight. Foot to the floor, all the way down to the most favourite overtaking spot of the circuit. Down towards the hairpin where you've seen collisions, example being between Vettel and Verstappen, and you've seen many overtakes into this hairpin. Example was in the sprint race in 2024 between Hamilton and Verstappen. So you can overtake, you can also collide, you can spin, your race can be ruined there. And today it can be ruined. We go very deep, completely misjudge the braking and go off, and that's not a perfect lap so far. But nonetheless, on lap number 2, we don't get it perfect, but we don't miss anything, so we come over the line. It won't be an improvement, it will be an improvement in lap time. It'll be a 4/10 improvement in lap time, but nonetheless, on our third run in this practice program as well, it's more or less purple all around, but he says 2 red dots that we have missed, so we will have to continue on. So it's not a perfect program, but luckily for us, when we go to the garage, it says it is perfected, so it has 5 out of 5 there. Just make some tweaks to the setup, lowering the brake bias and the brake pressure, and changing the rear wing up by 1. I didn't feel happy, up by 2, sorry, because I didn't feel happy with the stability of the rear of the car. But nonetheless, we're going to go to now qualifying, not to qualifying session yet, qualifying pace practice program. This is going to be to see what we can do in terms of qualifying performance. We will get, if you don't know how these work, we get a time we need to beat. That is obviously the time is going to be the predicted time for our targeted position, and our goal is to beat that by however much we can. So through the hairpin we do go, and this will be probably our final lap of the practice session because we're going to be out of tyres after this, really. We're not going to have a lot or much more to use anyway. So we're up and around the final corner we go, and down in towards turn number 1 we go. You can drain the battery the whole straight, mainly because you've recharged so much in this snail section here through the long run. Look at the battery just quickly rise. You can gain, I think, at least 70% in this section. So if you could, I would put the battery on even a higher mode, but obviously overtake is the highest one, or boost as people like to call it, is the only one you can do. But anyway, to the hairpin we go. Look at that, look how much of an improvement it is already. Lovely downshifts as we go and apply the power. Lose quite a lot of time on the exit of the hairpin, but then we gain it all back through the heart of the middle sector because compared to the AI we gain so much, but then understeer kicks in, but somehow we don't lose all that much. Then rotate it through the right, get your foot to the floor, put the battery up to medium, and then use a little bit of boost before we make our way towards the left and right, towards the chicane you could call this, to set up the most important section of the track. Losing time every single opportunity. Go wide, go over the curb, momentarily go down on the delta, but we've got battery to burn the absolute whole way down the straight, where we're not going to run out whatsoever. You see the time absolutely arise here. Make your way towards the hairpin where we'll be gaining. Now look at that, 2/10 up on the targeted time delta. We're probably 2 seconds up on our personal best delta, but nonetheless, put to the floor, a little bit of a correction, only a 10th up, and we have to send it through this final corner. Understeer kicks in, we go off the road. Luckily we keep the lap time, and over the line we go. It's a 35.482, and that's a lap time which would have put us P17 if it was actual qualifying. So in practice, Russell tops it from Piastri, Hamilton, Leclerc, Norris, Hajar, Mini, Antonelli, Verstappen, Perez, Lindblad, Hockenberg, Bortoletto, Lawson, Albon, Gasly, Ocon, Colapinto, Behrman, Stroll, Alonso. That was your round out. That was most of your. I didn't get to rest of seeing it all. Now let's look at the points we gain. 574, 1.4k total. Let's go to qualifying for the sprint.
It's sprint qualifying time, slightly shorter than the normal Grand Prix qualifying, but today we'll determine who starts on pole for the sprint to come.
So you can see here that we are in the sprint qualifying. To change some stuff, lowering the fuel that little bit to ensure that we, sorry, no, raising actually, so we have enough for a double run. Skipping forward in the time as well, so you see Piastri top with a 32.3, a very good lap from the Australian who took pole position for the season opener. We can then go out onto the circuit, hopefully with enough time to do our double runs, which shouldn't be an issue. No cars around us, sorry, there is, well, obviously there is cars around us, but no one's going to impede our lap times, we would hope at least. 3 minutes 30 on the clock, then this should be plenty of time to be able to get done what we need to do. And anyway, make our way towards the final corner. Battery fully topped up. So you see in the bottom right, obviously like brake bars and differential has not been touched at all. We've got the fuel for a double run. Anyway, towards turn number 1, we do go, and battery being depleted all the way. Luckily, we just come out ahead of that Aston Martin who was leaving the pit lane. Go through turn number 1, where you have to try and keep it tight to get the most out of the car. And then we did that very nicely through the apex, then through the left-hander of turn number 2, before you once again apply the power and make your way down towards the hairpin. You have to be cautious with the battery, because if you put it on way too early, then your rears can just completely spin up. Through the hairpin we go, then we've got our teammate ahead of us, who hasn't got out of the way as of yet, as we make our way now towards the heart of the middle sector, where this might be our only lap, because we left it a little bit tight there. See our teammates start to slow up. We get the dirty air kick in, and we just completely understeer out wide. They get out of the way there. So horrendous from Victor Martin and the team for when they released him, but nonetheless we're going to power on, lose a little bit more boost anyway on the run down towards the chicane before we do some more Lyco and do some more braking. We are literally level pegging to the millisecond with Sergio Perez's lap time for P20, so it's not looking too great, is it? And then we make our way down the back straight, down towards the hairpin. We have another car, I think that's an Audi ahead of us, as we make our way in towards the hairpin, the penultimate corner of the racetrack, where the Audi hopefully does peel out of the way, which they do. Bortoletto getting nicely out of the way. We rotate it through the hairpin, get it nicely turned in as well, so that we can apply the power, deploy the battery. And now around the final corner we go, and we cross the line with a 1:34.107. We got 3 seconds to spare, but you're going to see here, the letting through Gabriel Bortoletto might be what costs us a shot at qualifying another lap time. Over the line, 1-0, and it just runs out as we come over the line. So we are starting the sprint race where we started the Australian Grand Prix down in P23. And to be honest, if Victor Martin didn't get in our way, did we have any hope of making it through? Probably not, because I think we're at least half a second away. Antonelli tops SQ1 from Norris and Albon in third. Then it's Piastri, Russell, Leclerc, Lawson, Verstappen, Hadjar, Hamilton, Sainz, Gasly, Hulkenberg, Bottas, Oliver Behrman, then Gabriel Bortoletto, and Lance Stroll for Aston Martin has made it through. Lindblad, Martins, Alonso, Ocon, Perez, Gabriel Mini, RB and ourselves, and Franco Colapinto is out. Let's go to the grid for the Chinese sprint race here in Shanghai.
Forget pit stops, forget fuel management. It's pedal to the metal all the way here as we get ready for today's sprint. We start a lap here at Shanghai with the long, difficult right-handers of turns 1 and 2, the first of 16 corners that make up this 3.3-mile circuit. The incredibly long back straight provides the best passing opportunity of the lap, with speeds in excess of 200 miles per hour before we head into the braking zone of turn 14. Let's run you through the driver grid order for today's exciting sprint. Lando Norris will lead us away from pole position, and Andrea Kimi Antonelli completes the front row. As we continue through the rest of the grid today, we have Russell, Piastri, Charles Leclerc and Verstappen, Hamilton, Hadjar, Sainz and Alex Albon, Gasly, Behrman, Liam Lawson and Hulkenberg, Bortoletto, Bottas, Lance Stroll and Arvid Lindblad, Martins, Alonso, Ocon, Perez, Mini and Franco Colapinto rounds off the grid. Which of these drivers will get pole position today? We'll soon find out. And striding into our commentary box to join us today, the man, the myth, the legend, Anthony Davidson. Well, they say that a change is as good as a rest, and whilst there's not much rest on show in the sprint format today, there's definitely a change to what we're usually seeing on the track. I know what we've got to do before the start of today's race, but what about our driver? What do the final hours look like for them?
Well, for them, you've got your pre-race rituals that you go through. You see different drivers that, some have got their headphones on, they're listening to the music. Some drivers really absorb the energy from the crowd and they're there waving to them. Other drivers, they go within themselves. They chat to their engineers, absorbing that information, that vital information that you need to carry you through the race. And, those pre-race rituals are essential to making things systematic. We do a lot of Grand Prix in a season, and the more systematic you can be, the easier you are within that environment.
Well, here we are on the grid then. So you see Mark just said, let's give it our best shot from how far down we are starting this sprint race. So we're taking out a bit of fuel as well, because how much fuel you gain. Because of all the LICO, you're not using as much fuel as you would realistically expect. But nonetheless, you just look through the grid, see if anyone else has gone different, maybe using a soft tyre or a hard. But no, every single driver on the medium compound of tyres here. So nonetheless, we can power on to the formation lap here, where the one red light will go on and then they'll all go green. You can just see everyone's ahead slowly start to peel away one by one here. So we're going to be the second to last car to peel away. So we've got Alonso, Ocon and Perez, the three cars directly ahead of us. Good getaway in terms of doing our practice start in a sense before the main sprint race. We've got 10 laps around this Shanghai International Circuit for the sprint to the flag, where you haven't got a lot of time to make up positions, but hopefully we can most certainly do that. We come around then towards the end of the formation lap in a couple moments time, where you haven't really got a lot of time to make positions at all. We have got 10 laps here. I kind of stopped the track to make sure I had my battery on, but nonetheless we slowly make sure we don't go over our grid box. 0.4 away from the grid box we go to the 5 red lights on here in the Chinese sprint race. 5 lights on ahead of them all, and we go racing for the first time here in Shanghai and towards turn 1. It's a very good start. Make it 3 wide with Perez and Ocon in towards the opening corner of the circuit. Alonso looking on the inside of Lindblad, who's going alongside Stroll, and we're just trying to sneak our way on the inside. Look at that, past 3, 4, so many cars from 23rd already up into 15th position. You're on the outside of Gabriel Bortoletto, so Nico Hulkenberg we're alongside actually as we go in towards the hairpin. We've got more battery somehow in towards the braking zone. We get through. We're now going to make a 3 wide into the hairpin, going past Liam Lawson and going past Pierre Gasly. Get hooked on momentarily and then get on the exit of the corner. Lawson gets through. We get by Gasly. Not too shabby whatsoever. I think of a stick in the nose on the inside of Liam Lawson. On that occasion, way too risky to do anything about it. As we then go into the double left-hander, where we now up into 13th, basically made up 10 positions already, which is not too shabby in a sprint race on 1 lap. So completely flying, are we? It's so easy to make up positions in the opening lap in Shanghai. We just need to try and keep up the momentum as we go through the long right-hander. Lawson drifting his way through. You just see it, but still we get to the Bella exit as I make our way down in towards the hairpin, deploying our battery, gaining on Lawson, gaining and gaining all the while, and we pull to the inside line. We've got more battery than the Kiwi driver, and we blast on by. We do some more LICO though, because we have to do LICO compared to the AI. Well, I say compared, that like AI, they do like to do their lift and coast as well, but they do it very dramatically whenever they do it. So anyway, we come towards the replay of the race start. It's Norris on pole, Antonelli alongside, and then they go out and they go racing for the opening sprint race of the year. You just see us flood to the middle there at the rear of the field, but then you see Oscar Piastri looking to challenge Antonelli. It's actually Russell challenging Oscar Piastri around the outside. The Mercedes man, the British driver, the pre-season favourite, looking to get the sprint podium position wheel to wheel was the wonder from down under. Applying the power, Piastri sailing all the way around the outside of George Russell to keep P3 in in the sprint race further behind the two Williams, going side by side of Alexander Albon and Carlos Sainz, applying the power. Then around the outside goes Albon to keep 9th place ahead of his teammate as we go in towards the twists and the turns of the heart of the middle sector. It is then Norris from Antonelli, Piastri, Russell, Leclerc, Verstappen, Hadjar, Hamilton, Albon, Sainz, Behrman, Lawson, and then ourselves. But obviously we've seen that we got past Lawson earlier before that replay, and now we make our way towards the end of the middle sector where we are trying to hunt down Oliver Behrman here to try and get up into P11 to try and hunt down another position. But there's always a chance for the likes of red flags and spins in this sprint race. We make our way towards the heavy braking zone. We see Albon and Sainz getting closer to do some battle. Albon getting close to Hamilton as well as we go through the left corner. Albon spins his rears. Albon spins around and we arrive on the scene and avoid all three of them. And that is 3 positions just like that. 3 positions completely free, and the red flag has come out to nullify any racing, and the spin before Albon cause has gained us 3 places and has given us now a chance to try and jump the rest of the field, or the drivers around us, sorry, I should say, to try and get into some sprint point positions. Here we are, considering the soft tyres, but nonetheless, we don't go for the softs, we go back to our medium tyres, and then we will go to the standstill where once again, 4 and 5 red lights on. And here in China, for the second time today, we go racing towards turn number 1, where we have a decent start in comparison to Lewis Hamilton. Hadjar gets boxed in by his teammate and George Russell. We're going to look around the outside of Sir Lewis Hamilton, maybe think of an outside move on George Russell into turn number 2. We're thinking of it, trying to stick our nose there, but not close enough. We're going to keep our battle with Hamilton going, though, as we apply the power. We then get boxed in the dirty air, nullifying our power, and then here comes Hamilton sailing around the outside of us, but we're going to go brave and dive on the inside on the brakes, get through on the Ferrari, and into the sprint point positions we go. It was a lovely start here. Russell and Hadjar as well, still going to battle. Russell comes out on top ahead of the Red Bull. Verstappen now has also jumped George Russell in the Mercedes as we go through the twists and the turns before the double left-hander, where we make sure we are sticking to the rear of Hadjar for his best ability as we can, as we make our way down in towards where Albon spun on the previous time we came here at racing speeds. Apply the power, where once again you see Hadjar have a little bit of a moment, but not too big of a moment. Down the back straight we go. Hamilton all on our rear as we make our way towards the hairpin. Hamilton was only 2 tenths behind as we make our way down towards the best spot for Grand Prix overtaken. We go defensive to the inside. This is our only chance we've got at getting a point in the sprint race. We have to try and fend this for all we can. Hamilton and ourselves making a little bit of contact, but we fend off the first attack from the 7-time world champion. But then towards turn number 1 we go, but further up the road, Norris and Antonelli preparing to do battle in the sprint race. Antonelli almost losing it when he snapped out from the rear of the McLaren, ran the outside, the Mercedes on the soft tyre trying to punish Lando Norris here for going defensive. Antonelli wanted the momentum on the outside line. Kimi's diving to the inside line, barges the champion wide, but towards turn number 1 we go. Norris and Kimi still dueling away. Here comes Charles Leclerc and the Ferrari on the inside of Antonelli, looking for the move. Will be audacious if he dives it, if he can make it stick. Antonelli with the soft tyre should have the advantage. With the higher line, the momentum will favour the Italian driver, and as they apply the power, the grippier soft tyre does work for Kimi Antonelli. Charles Leclerc still looking to make the move as they go under braking. Leclerc has to sit up behind, and then back to our battle with Lewis Hamilton. We're just doing our own race, also while defending. Hamilton on the outside, we're on the inside, where once again we fend off the Ferrari. I was about to say Mercedes there because I still haven't got used to Ferrari and Hamilton and a Ferrari. But anyway, we have such a poor exit on the exit of the long sweeping right, and here comes Hamilton looking to take the inside line. We squeeze him to the outside of the circuit before we go under braking in towards the hairpin. We're going to go brave here and lift off the brake a little bit, do some brake training to try and sail around the outside line. Hamilton defends that very nicely, and we are down now into 9th position, but you will see Hamilton's rear light was flashing in towards the hairpin, so now we've got an opportunity to try and make this move again towards turn 1. We are gaining all the while, pulling out out to the inside line, going very deep. The speed catches us out onto the grass. We go, have a massive tank slapper, dip a wheel down in the gravel as well. And from 8th position, we've dropped down into 15th, and we've got grass on our tyres. So the grip is going to be massively affected here as we now get on the exit of turn number 2. And towards the hairpin we go. Valtteri Bottas on the soft compound tyre as well, looking to make the move. We're 3 wide into the hairpin. We go late with the brakes, and we are able to fend off the attack from Bottas and Gasly. Gasly as well looking to make the move on the Finnish driver as we are. Once again, we go to the hairpin. Gasly now looking to attack us as we go on to braking in towards the hairpin. Gasly getting his nose to the inside line. We have to leave the room. Don't have to leave a lot of it. You can cut that curve, and we are able to fend off the Frenchman. Fend off in 15th place, but now we have to see what we can do, trying to fight for now the sprint point. You see Hamilton's already starting scampering off the road, so maybe a dream of a first point of the season is gone here in the Shanghai sprint race. We do still have the Grand Prix to come, so there's always going to be a chance for that as we head into the penultimate lap of this sprint race. So you can see, look at the battling up ahead. Look how much they all slow up. As now we might try and think of a move around the outside of Arvid Lindblad. As now we have the outside line. It just comes out of absolutely nowhere, and sailing around the outside we will try, but then deploy the battery towards the hairpin. Gasly got close but not close enough. Can we get close to Lindblad though as we go under brake, and we're going to dive to the inside line. Wheel to wheel was the rookie driver, and through we go on Lindblad. We've made up 1 and into 14th place in this sprint race we go. So now on to the final lap of this race, more or less exactly a lap later here, where we are still in the rear of Gabriel Bortoleto, but I don't think we're going to be close enough to poise any attack. But nonetheless, I think 14th still not a bad result from 23rd in 10 laps. We more or less made up 9 places here as we now go on to braking into this corner for the final time. Lindblad sticks his nose to the inside, so we have to run a little bit deep, but not too deep. But nonetheless, look at the front of the field. Look on the mini-map on the bottom left-hand side of your screen. And there's a Mercedes, a Ferrari, a Mercedes, and McLaren all getting so close as we go towards the final corners of this circuit. We're not going to be close enough for any sort of move. We go under braking towards the hairpin. Here you can see, this is what I was on about. Look at this, Antonelli leading by 0.2 of a second. The wonder from down under, the pole sitter from last week, could poison the attack. Didn't opt to go for the inside line there. 84 milliseconds split the pair of them as we apply the power on the exit of the corner, and it is Piastri who's going to settle for second. Kimi Antonelli is going to pick up his first ever win in Formula 1. Antonelli takes the Chinese sprint from Oscar Piastri. Charles Leclerc in P3, Russell in 4th, Norris in 5th, Verstappen in 6th, Hadjar 7th, Hamilton 8th. That is your points in this sprint race. But then back to our story then. We are getting close, but not close enough. Lindblad was thinking to move as well. We go late on the brakes. We have a micro lockup, which sends us deep. But then with the wide line, we are able just to get the exit, get the traction, and we are able to hold on to 14th place. Run a little bit wide, doesn't mean anything. Over the line we go, and it is 14th here in the Shanghai sprint.
Well, that's an end to the sprint action. Next up, we'll set the grid for the Grand Prix. So we'll see you next time.
Well, there's your sprint classification then. It will be Antonelli who's got maximum points from it, from then Oscar Piastri, then Charles Leclerc, then George Russell. The pole sitter Lando Norris finishes in 5th. Verstappen stayed where he started in 6th. Hadjar in 7th. Hamilton in 8th. Albon and Sainz in 9th and 10th. Behrman from Lawson, Bortoleto, Gabriella Mini in 14th. And Arvid Lindblad, Pierre Gasly, Franco Colapinto, Valtteri Bottas, Fernando Alonso, Ocon, Hulkenberg, Perez, Stroll and Victor Martin. Let's go to qualifying for the main Grand Prix then.
Welcome along to Shanghai, ladies and gentlemen, where it's Chinese Grand Prix weekend. But before we can race, we need to qualify. And who's going to take that coveted pole position? How will our grid line up? We're about to find out. Welcome to qualifying.
Well, welcome to qualifying for the Chinese Grand Prix. We've had the sprint qualifying. We are now here to face the Grand Prix qualifying, where this is going to be the more important one because This is where 25 points are up for grab. Do we expect to get 25 points? No. But do we expect to try and maybe get a top 10? Yes, we might have the pace for that. But we've got to try and unlock something in this car because we're just mainly struggling really in the car. We're just struggling to find anything in terms of qualifying performance-wise. So we've been qualified 23rd. 2 races in a row, so it's not the most ideal. Well, let's just try to find some nice track position here, and we can head around the final corner and head down towards turn number 1, where we're going to use the boost once again all the way. Keep to our normal strategy here to see if it was just maybe an unlucky lap time, to see if we actually have got qualifying pace as we go through turn number 1, where just keep it in none battery. Maybe this was the issue where we're just keeping it in none ERS through the corners, which is losing us so much time, and then also from the traction zones where it feels like we're just going so slow because it's so easy. Then we're going to make our way in towards the hairpin, where this can make or break a lap as we go under braking through turn number 6, and then apply the power. A little bit of a wobble there as we applied the throttle. Then we go through the high speed section of the sector 2, where this is where you can make or break a lap because of how high speed it is. The rear could snap at any moment, but it keeps all gripped up. At least it does until that until it does of the first left-hander. Nonetheless, at the end of the middle sector, we are half a second down on Perez's middle sector. So it's not the most ideal thing in the world, is it? That's how we make our way around the third to last corner then, down towards the hairpin. But once again, it's been such a mediocre lap. It doesn't feel like we should complete this really, as then we go and make our way in towards the final 2 corners of the circuit. You have to just send it here. If you know you're not doing a good lap, you just have to realistically send it to try and have any hope of succeeding in qualifying. We clatter the curb to try and find as much time as possible. A little bit of correction on the exit of the corner, and towards the final corner we go. Chuck the car in, hesitate on the throttle because of understeer, and over the line we go. We remain as the slowest car so far. So not the most ideal thing then. And look at the time, look how far off we are. We're 2 tenths away from our teammate, and based off getting through, we're around 8 tenths away from the time so far. We're going to skip forward to when we go out for our final run. And this lap's really going to be do or die, isn't it? It's a lap where we have to just fully send it. We have to try and do something here in qualifying. So we're going to make our way then towards the hairpin. So we're going to try something different here. We're going to risk the car in a sense. We're going to risk it using a higher ERS mode in the corners and traction. Let's just stick it on medium when applying the traction to see if it can give us some more lap time, and hopefully we are able to find the time to get ourselves out of Q1, which is going to be a tall order really, isn't it? Anyway, we can make our way towards turn number 1. 32 seconds on the clock as we begin our final push lap here in qualifying. Just see, we keep it on medium, rotating through turn number 1, and look at the time go up. It goes down momentarily because we take an alternate line, but look, so we apply the power, a tenth and a half up already, and then apply the power on the exit of turn number 2, and look at the time rise. Look, it's already 2 tenths of a second up. We'll make that 2.5 tenths up before the braking. So go through the braking, lose a little bit, and then through rotation we go. Look how much we gain, and apply the power once again. No correction, and look at that, near on 4 tenths of a second up. So maybe this is the tactic we needed to try and find a decent qualifying effort. 4.5 tenths up as we go through the twists and the turns. We lose a little bit of time and then gain it all back. We have a much better line, and then a much better line as well for the first left-hander. For the second left-hander, still gaining time, and we are more or less 6 tenths of a second up as we go under braking. 25 milliseconds up on Perez's time. We know there's going to be more time though through this section, because this is where the traction will help you the most if you have a good exit. And look at the time now start to rise. We get earlier on the boost button as well, so we are going to be gaining time all the way down this straight. Somehow the speed will balance out as we make our way down in towards the hairpin. Going to be gaining time under braking surely. Look at that, it goes up to 7.5 tenths. Made that 8.5 tenths. We lose a little bit of time mid-corner, but then apply the power. We get a little bit more time on traction. 7.2 tenths up as we go around the final corner. We just got to chuck it in. The front end does grip though, and make that 8.5 tenths up, and over the line we go. Where will it be in Q1? Are we through? No. P19 on the grid, but it felt a lot more alive. That's probably the code we needed to crack. Probably the thing we needed to find out really. The car felt more alive in that lap. Although it's 19th on the grid, there was probably still some time we could have found in the overall lap time. So it's not the worst lap in the world. We are able to out-qualify our teammate, and we are only 2 tenths away from out-qualifying a Hassel or Williams, who realistically we shouldn't really be anywhere near in terms of the R&D chart. But nonetheless, we can go then to the grid as Ocon, Mini, Alonso, Perez, Hulkenberg, Martin, Stroll all knocked out. Let's go to the grid for the Chinese Grand Prix.
The Chinese Grand Prix then is upon us once again. It's a race that saw Michael Schumacher claim his final Formula One victory in 2006, as well as Red Bull's first win with Sebastian Vettel in 2009. There's no doubt there's plenty more drama to come here in Shanghai. We start a lap here at Shanghai with the long, difficult right-handers of turns 1 and 2, the first of 16 corners that make up this 3.3-mile circuit. The incredibly long back straight provides the best passing opportunity of the lap, with speeds in excess of 200 miles per hour before we head into the braking zone of turn 14. It's time to see how our drivers are stacking up after yesterday's exciting qualifying session. Lando Norris put in a fantastic lap yesterday, and he'll start from pole position. And Andrea Kimi Antonelli completes the front row. Looking at the rest of today's grid, we have Russell, Verstappen, Oscar Piastri and Leclerc, Hamilton, Sainz, Hadjar and Alex Albon, Gasly, Behrman, Liam Lawson and Colapinto, Lindblad, Bortoletto, Valtteri Bottas and Esteban Ocon, Mini, Alonso, Perez, Hulkenberg, Martins, and Lance Stroll brings the grid to a close. With preparations almost complete, let's head down to the track. And alongside me in the commentary box today, a man who I always look up to, which is easier said than done, Anthony Davidson. And let's talk momentum with this driver. What a sprint it was. They start at 0 once again for today, but with a huge amount of confidence, surely. Well, they'll definitely be glad that it's not a sprint race today. Let's face it, the sprint couldn't have gone much worse, but what we're looking for today is a reaction. Now, you're the racing driver in this partnership, so tell us about this racing driver. Put us in their shoes. How are they going to be feeling?
Well, you've got to be prepared, Crofty. Before you even step foot inside the car, you've got to know, you've got to have a pre-race game plan. You've watched videos before you get into the car of previous races gone by. You know where you have to place your car if X, Y or Z happens in front of you or behind you. So having this clear game plan is absolutely essential before you get in the car.
Well, here we are then. I'm just speeding this along because I spent quite a lot of time sorting out our strategy, and that's why I didn't want to bore you with all of this, because we was on here for quite a while, just ensuring that we had everything we wanted. But we can then go to the formation lap here, where 19th on the grid, we have a very good chance to get points here on the race start. We have a very good chance to get into the points on the race start, I should say. And just see, but once again, do a slightly slower practice start. Keep it in lean, because with the formation lap, your tactic will be to do some brake dragging with medium on lean fuel, because brake dragging is back. It actually works here for the tyres. But anyway, on this formation lap, towards the grid we go then for the Grand Prix. And you've got, what, in this video, what, probably 28 minutes of Grand Prix action to watch. That surely shows a minute a lap. There's going to be quite some good action. I can promise you that, because I'm the one that drove this. But anyway, we can go to the grid. We can go to the 5 red lights on ahead of us all. 4 and 5 red lights on, and we go racing for what will hopefully be the final time here in China today. And we instantly jump Esteban Ocon, instantly jump Valtteri Bottas, instantly jump Bortoletto. Think of a dive on the inside of Arvid Lindblad. We're going to try and stick ourselves on the inside line. Also go alongside Behrman and Franco Colapinto. We've got ourselves alongside the Argentine driver. We're then going to look around the outside of Alexander Albon and Pierre Gasly. And this could be that was the second time today that we found ourselves 3 wide with Gasly. As we go on to braking into the hairpin, Gasly moves on to braking. We move on to braking as well. 3 abreast with Gasly through that exact hairpin again. Sainz gets a poor exit. We're now alongside the Spanish driver, and we're going to sail all the way around the outside. And from 19th on the grid, we are up into P9 with a phenomenal start here for our opening lap of our first ever Chinese Grand Prix. And as we make our way down in towards the turn number. I completely forgot the turn number, to be honest, but towards this section we go. Look how much it all slows up as then we go apply the power on the exit of the corner, and down in towards the hairpin we go, where it seems like we've got more battery in Charles Leclerc, because look, we are instantly gaining on the Monaco driver. Down in towards the hairpin we go, towards turn 13 I believe we go, and we are gaining all the while, Look at the dive on the inside line, diving, going brave on the brakes, a wheel to wheel with the Scarlet Ferrari, and through into 8th position we go in this race. So not too shabby whatsoever here. And we can then go to the 5 red lights on the race replay start. 5 lights on, Norris v Antonelli to turn 1, we're racing towards the opening braking zone, the opening turn, the opening corner of the Shanghai International Circuit, and Antonelli looking to challenge. Through turn 1 we go, further behind, Verstappen and Piastri, Leclerc and Hamilton all doing battle, as well as Sainz and Hadjar. Through the opening corner we go, Antonelli getting oh so close to leading this Chinese Grand Prix, but will he be able to on the exit of turn 2? No, he won't. Lando Norris leads from Antonelli, then Russell. Verstappen looking for the move on Oscar Piastri. Round the outside we go, side by side with Max Verstappen, and side by side with Oscar Piastri on the power. Who gets the line? Who gets the inside for this long right-hander? It's Max Verstappen. Piastri's going to continue to fight this one all the way. Around the outside goes Piastri. Verstappen continuing to try and fight this one, but has to bail out of it, and Piastri holds on to 4th position here in Shanghai. It's McLaren, Mercedes, McLaren, Red Bull, Ferrari, and then back to our battle on lap 2 with Charles Leclerc. In towards the hairpin we go. Leclerc looking all the way around the outside, squeezing him to the outside to fend off the Monaco driver. We make our way towards the twists and the turns of the middle sector. We're looking to fend off Charles Leclerc to get our first points of the year here in China, to look to be able to get at least 4 points on the board to kickstart our season after a miserable Australian Grand Prix. And we go around towards the end of the middle sector, where Charles Leclerc will be getting close once again, all the time getting close, but once again will not be close enough through the right, through the left, and then through the long right, the most important corner of the circuit. We make our way down the back straight and down in towards the hairpin, where once again Leclerc will be challenging us. Once again he will be gaining all the while. We're a second away from Isaac Hadjar. Charles Leclerc going to the inside line, looking to get 8th position though. Wheel to wheel with us we go. We're going to have the outside line. The momentum will favour us as we apply the power and hold on to 8th position, and crucially hold on to the overtake mode. So we will be able to continue to get that we'll continue to get the increased recharge. But here comes Charles Leclerc anyway. We're not going to really fight this one, because it was going to be an eventuality when Charles Leclerc got by, and we are able to, we were able to lose the place. Charles Leclerc is able to get through, and down to 9th we go, but nonetheless still in the points. We go down the back straight, where once again, look at this, Leclerc seems to be out of the battery. Look how much we are gaining on Charles Leclerc. Sainz as well gaining on us. We are gaining on Leclerc. Further ahead, seems to be 3 wide between, I believe, Hadjar. Hadjar. There's a McLaren involved as well. It seems to be Piastri, maybe Russell involved as well, maybe Hamilton as well. If we go around the final corner and towards turn number 1, look at that squabble. All seem to settle out onto lap number 3. We go here, where we're going to be gaining on Charles Leclerc once again. But can we get close enough in towards turn number 1? Obviously not. We are 6/10 away from the Monaco driver, where this is going to be the question of, can we make any moves? Because look how much they have all bunched up here through turn number 1 and turn number 2. Once again, making our way towards the hairpin. We have got a bit of a gap now to Carlos Sainz behind, so we're going to be under no threat. We can do our Lyco however we wish to make sure our battery can keep getting recharged through turn number 30 before we go towards the final corner of the racetrack. There's yellow flags behind because Lance Stroll is going very slowly, and there's even more yellow flags at the hairpin because there is a bunched up lot. I think a Fernando Alonso or an Audi or Bortoleto has spun the car, and the safety car has been called out here in Shanghai. We had a red flag in the sprint. We've got a full course yellow safety car here in the Grand Prix, and now we're faced with the question, Do we come into the pit lane for a fresh set of hard tyres to take us to the end of the Grand Prix, or do we follow the rest and not give up track position, because we know how crucial it can be? And here is what happened to the first one. Here's what happened to the first agent, Lance Stroll, in the Aston Martin, and it's a rear right tyre failure. The Kaya has just completely given up, and that's the first Aston Martin that had a mistake. We switched to Alonso at the same lap at the hairpin, completely spins the car. The Audi just of Bortoletto just gets through, and that's mainly what causes the safety car, because everyone bunches up. Now we've got a decision to make. There's no rain on the horizon yet. We forgot about the rain, didn't we? And we come around towards the final corner. You can see my wheel. I was really debating just running to the pit lane, but I decided to follow the rest. I don't want to take any risks whilst fighting for our first ever points in Formula 1, but nonetheless we can then go to the safety car restart in a couple moments time. Here we are in 9th position, and the question is, can we then get past Charles Leclerc and the Ferrari on the restart? We know that AI are quite bad with their battery on race restarts. And here we go in towards turn number 1. So down the main straight we go. Leclerc, they was actually quite good with their battery that time, but nonetheless, look at this. We are gaining again, and the rear light already flashing on Charles Leclerc. We're looking to the inside line, wheel to wheel we go. We go a little bit deep, but we don't touch Leclerc. Leclerc goes even deeper, and look in the mirror, Leclerc sliding away, and we are through in the 8th place. And look at the gap, 1.5 seconds already on Charles Leclerc. He must have run wide onto the grass. The Monaco driver having a complete bottle job moment. You can see what happened there on the offboard shot. Charles Leclerc dipping a tyre into the grass and saving the car. On board with him as well, you can see him dip both left tyres into the grass and sliding away. But nonetheless, we can get back involved in the action here. Looking on the rear of Isaac Hadjar, who has a monumental moment here, and we make our way around the long right-hander down in towards the hairpin, where once again we are so close to Isaac Hadjar, and this could be our result. This could be who our race is with. The top 6 already seems to be gone. Hadjar is not gone. We're on the inside, and we are getting past the Frenchman, getting past the Red Bull Racing driver, the man who's making his second ever start in Grand Prix racing for the Red Bull team. We get past, and now here comes Hadjar again. We are looking to fend this off. This is going to be the maximum we're going to get. P7 is the highest position we could ever hope for here in Shanghai. 6 points on offer. Are we able to fend it off for the rest of the Grand Prix? Here comes Charles Leclerc now, who got past Hadjar just a couple corners ago, and we are able to lose the position. Charles Leclerc is able to get back by, or is he? We dive on the inside line, open the steering, get the elbow out. Not the most cleanest driving, I have to say. And we go around the outside, and we are able to fend off the position. Maybe that's a bit of maybe a bit of a rookie mistake from Minty, that driving in the turn number 1. We go on the inside line. Leclerc looks around the outside as we apply the power on the exit of the corner. And Charles Leclerc still looking for the move. And here at the front of the field, though, the 2 Mercedes might do battle. Towards the hairpin we go. The McLarens as well are doing battle. Antonelli v George Russell. Russell diving it to the inside. And Antonelli, the Italian sensation, looking to fend off the lead. Here he goes on the inside. The Mercedes make contact on the exit of the final corner. Here come the McLarens as well. Through goes Piastri. Through goes Lando Norris and George Russell, who under braking into the final corner was first. Into the braking of turn number 1 is 4th. We dive on the inside of Leclerc to fend our position, and we are able to defend against the onslaught coming from the Ferrari. And on lap number 12, we are set to come into the pit lane here. It's going to be our selfie Hadjar, because Hadjar's got back past Charles Leclerc out of absolutely nowhere, something I didn't notice before editing this. Hadjar now attacking us on the outside line. Wheel to wheel with the Frenchman we go. We're making sure we've got this inside line, so we are able to have a clear entry into the pit lane. Into the pits comes the McLaren and the Mercedes, I believe. We go under braking, we go very deep, almost doing what Hamilton did in 2007, going into the wall. But nonetheless, we get stopped nicely under braking through into the pit lane here and make our way down in towards our pit box here. We had a pit stop error in the season opener. Can we put those words behind us to have a good pit stop here in China? A crucial one it would be. And we go and release ourselves. 2.5 seconds. Good stop. We were able to hold the position on Charles Leclerc. And I'm pressing my pit limiter button here. And it just wasn't turning off the pit limiter. So we probably could have stayed ahead of Behrman there if we hadn't given up 2 seconds worth of lap time. But nonetheless, Charles Leclerc is on our rear. And we've got to look behind us. We could have had such more of a gap to Charles Leclerc. We could have been so much more safer in this straight, but here comes the Monaco driver. We defend the inside line, but I don't think it's even going to be a contest here. We do our lift and coast, but Leclerc doesn't like completely outbrakes us, and he goes through into what is currently 17th. Will probably be P7 once all the pit stops have happened. Leclerc, you can then see, does a bit of lift and coasting. I think of a dive to the inside, but not close enough to go for an audacious dive bomb here. And we can look, here comes Kimi Antonelli on Lando Norris. These two doing battle under braking contact between the champion and the champion-elect, Antonelli and Norris. Norris seemed to swipe Antonelli under the braking. That now this is going to be the most crucial pit stop of their race here. Antonelli versus Norris. Mercedes and McLaren both known for having relatively good pit stops as we now trundle down the pit lane. McLaren get the first box, Mercedes get the second box. So we then change the tyres, watching from Antonelli's perspective here, and now we watch Norris on the pit exit. Norris has jumped Antonelli on the exit of the pit lane, on the exit of their garages, and Norris gets past Kimi Antonelli, but then we have to watch onto the main track, watch onto the racetrack on the right hand side. George Russell, who pitted earlier, goes through into the net race lead of the Chinese Grand Prix, and the championship leader with a phenomenal strategy to undercut both Norris and Antonelli. Yet now we have to get past Behrman, who got passed by Charles Leclerc a couple on this lap. We get past Behrman, not even a contest under braking. We go through on the British driver, who is surely the next driver waiting in line for Scuderia Ferrari. We get through into 15th. But the question is now, as we head on to lap number 15, where will we be in comparison to Isaac Hadjar? Leclerc is gone. Leclerc's not going to be a question anymore. Leclerc's going to be quite the tall order, really, to be able to beat. But nonetheless, as we head through turn number 1, we are miles clear of Isaac Hadjar, and we can look now to this battle between the Mercedes and the Audi and the McLaren. Norris going all the way around the outside of Hulkenberg and Russell, but then back comes George Russell to completely fly on by the pair of them. So Norris got both, and then Russell got both of them, but then down in towards the hairpin. It's now Norris's turn to try and make the move on Russell. Russell hasn't got the battery. Norris flies on by, and Lando Norris gets through into the net race leader of the Grand Prix. The net top 3 and top 4 all within the same picture momentarily. We are now trying to hunt down Charles Leclerc. We have to try and do something. We've got to try and put maximum pace on. As now we see this battle once again. McLaren now going past Russell, Piastri and George Russell wheel to wheel. All the way around the outside goes the wonder from down under. And Oscar Piastri moves into a net P2 in the Chinese Grand Prix. And now we are trying to hunt down Gabriel Bortoleto here. We haven't got long to go in this Grand Prix. When we cross the line 11, when we cross the line after lap 18, there'll be 10 to go. We are going to have to get Bortoleto, though, in towards the hairpin. He's costing us so much time. We've lost around a second on this lap to Alexander Albon, but he will surely have to peel into the pit lane again because of how much wear are surely on those medium compounder tyres here. We head round the third to last corner, head down the back straight, head down towards the hairpin. We'll be gaining on Bortoleto all the time, gaining and gaining and gaining and gaining. Will Bortoleto defend this? He will. We will look to the outside line, and it's new team versus new team. Harris Motorsport versus Audi Revolut Formula 1 team. Around the outside we go, just plain sailing through into 9th position here in the Chinese Grand Prix. Fernando Alonso as well has peeled into pit lane, so we are up into 8th, and this is where the maximum is going to be for ourselves. And now the two Mercedes who made contact earlier in the Grand Prix are going to prepare to do battle once more. Will it even be a contest in a straight fight? Towards turn 13 we go, and Antonelli breezes on by his experienced teammate, and the championship elect gets past the championship leader the preseason favourite down into 4th now, and surely Verstappen will be able to get through soon. We have Isaac Hadjar gaining on ourselves. We go probably extra defensive to the inside line here. Hadjar goes brave on the brakes around the outside line, get to the apex first, slam that door shut. Was a little bit of a mistake on the exit of the corner, and towards the final corner we go. That is our first defence we've had to pull up against Isaac Hadjar, but nonetheless, it is now going to be his turn to attack us in towards turn number 1. We're going to defend the inside line. Hadjar's going to look around the outside. We're going to go wheel to wheel in towards the first braking zone of the lap, and Hadjar looking to sail all the way around the outside if he can have the confidence. But we slam that door shut as Victor Martins is out of the race. Our teammate bids farewell here in Shanghai. It seems to be an engine failure if you look at the minimap on the bottom left-hand side. And here comes Isaac Hadjar on the inside of the hairpin. We're going to go brave around the outside of the hairpin. Off turn 6, apply the power, and we keep 8th position on the road. And then we can finally see what happened to Victor Martins here. And you just see the smoke coming out of the rear of the car, and Victor Martins' Grand Prix, his day goes from bad to worse. What happened to the first Grand Prix, was he? Running around 18th place, but he will bid farewell to any hope of a top 18 place, because he's not even going to finish this Grand Prix. He's going to finish down in P23, because the engine has said goodbye here. But nonetheless, we are going to go and continue on and try to fend off Isaac Hadjar. Yellow flags are waving. Lap 25 and 28. Once again, Hadjar going to attack us. And we're going to look on the inside once again to defend off our position here. Hadjar goes brave again. But once again, we are able to defend against the onslaught that is just being pounded against us by the Red Bull driver. But once again, towards turn 1, he will be gaining with a while. Gaining and gaining and gaining. Once again, we defend the inside line. Hadjar once again looking around the outside. As we go on the braking, we're trying to send him out a little bit deep. Not too deep, just trying to squeeze him out so he can't have the momentum. Once again, we slam the door shut, and we are able to fend off that position and still remain in 8th place in the race. Once again, it's game onto the hairpin, where once again he is gaining all the while. He's gaining in that slipstream. Is he close enough to make the move? As we go on to braking once again, he gets a very clear into the braking zone. We go brave on the brakes, miss the apex a little bit. Hadjar tries the old switcheroo. As we apply the power, we're able to get better traction, a little bit of a slide on the exit of the corner. As we head around the final corner onto the penultimate lap of the Chinese Grand Prix, we once again know we have to defend this one. Hadjar again looking to the outside line. We have the inside line where once again, side by side between ourselves and Hadjar, he's looking to get sail all the way around the outside line if he can make it stick. But once again, we're just going to slam that door shut on Hadjar. We're on the exit of the corner where once again he might have another chance at this hairpin. The AI seems so good through this mini straight, and into the hairpin we go. Hadjar looking around the outside, but once again we get to the apex first, and any chance we want to give Hadjar is quickly swept out the window, and we are able to fend off his position. And the tyre warning's up, the fronts are giving up, and towards the hairpin we go. We are fully clear, so we won't be on the threat on this occasion, on this lap, into the hairpin, but we will have to keep an eye out before we head on to the final lap of this Grand Prix. We have to make sure we have some rear tyre left. The fronts are giving up. You can tell from the tyre indicator. As now we head towards turn number 1, where once again we are gonna have to defend this position towards turn 1. We go slight. Well, I say slight. We go very defensive through turn number 1 to ensure that we are able to have no attack whatsoever by the Red Bull driver. Through turn 1 we go. That is the first chance for Hadjar gone. He's got probably 2 more into this hairpin, and then into the final hairpin we go. On the inside, Hadjar looking around the outside line on the braking once again. It's been a rinse and repeat of every single lap so far we've had to defend from him. It's just still us able to fend him off, but then we go through the twists and the turns of the middle sector for the final time in this Grand Prix. It's going to be the question of, can we hang on to the win? Not to the win, sorry, to P8. This will basically be a win for us because of how much we struggled in qualifying. Anyway, we head down in towards the chicane for the final time, the final sector on the final lap for the final time. Through the left and through the right we go, and look at the minimap in the bottom left. The McLaren round the final corner. Lando Norris will take the win here in China, and here he is, the man of the hour around the final corner, and the world champion gets his first win as the world champion, Lando Norris wins the Chinese Grand Prix, and it is a McLaren 1-2 here in Shanghai. But back to our battle as well. We have got to instantly dart to the inside line, where instantly we know we're going to have to defend this one. We've got all the battery available to us. Here comes Isaac Hadjar. We won't have to worry about lifting, coasting as we go on the braking. Hadjar Gilmes gets fully ahead. We go late on the brakes to the apex first to fend off the position, and we will be able to come home in 8th position. Hadjar's out of battery. Round the final corner, we leave the road. We go slowly to not get a warning. It's going to be P8 here in China for ourselves. And that is a very, very valiant effort here in Shanghai. We have been able to pick up our first points of the year. 4 points on the board for our team.
All go, go, go for Lando Norris as he takes the checkered flag and wins.
I mean, it looked like they were in a different category at points during the race, led every lap. I mean, what more can we say?
It's time for our podium celebrations. And as ever in Formula One, 3 is the magic number. He holds the trophy aloft, and why shouldn't he? A richly deserved win today for Lando Norris. Well, that was certainly an exciting weekend of Formula One. Be sure to join us for more exciting Formula One action very soon.
So, Lando Norris wins the Grand Prix from Piastri. McLaren 1-2, Kimi in 3rd, Verstappen in 4th, Russell in 5th, and then it's Hamilton in 6th, Ferrari in 7th, Ferrari 6 and 7, and ourselves in P8. Gabriele Mini from 19th to 8th. Isaac Hadjar in 9th. Sainz in 10th. Gets a point for Williams. And it's Albon Gasly. For Alonso in 13th for Aston Martin. Then it'll be Liam Lawson, Bortoletto, Ocon, Perez, Lindblad, Behrman, Hulkenberg, Bottas, Colapinto, who DNF'd, but he got driver of the day. Sure. And then it will be Victor Martin, our teammate who DNF'd, and then Lance Stroll will round out the finishing order. In terms of overall race weekend, Norris and Piastri gain Norris and Piastri get the most points, so they are gaining in the constructors. And then it'll be Antonelli. Russell gets 15 points. He gets the same amount of points as Max Verstappen. And then Charles Leclerc and Hamilton, who get the 6th and 7th most amount of points. Then it'll be Hadjar, who gets 2 points in each race. And then it'll be ourselves, who get the 9th most amount of points. In the driver standings, Lando Norris leads it from George Russell. And then it's Piastri, then Kimi Antonelli, then it's Verstappen, Hamilton, Leclerc, Hadjar, ourselves now in 9th in the standings. Then Liam Lawson with 2 points, Carlos Sainz in 11th, and Pierre Gasly round out the point order in terms of the 12 drivers who have scored points. Half the field have now got points in Formula One, so not too shabby whatsoever. In terms of the constructors then, it's McLaren who lead it by 15 points ahead of Mercedes. Then it's Ferrari in 3rd on 44. Red Bull in 4th on 33. Then ourselves in 5th with only 4 points. Then it's VCARB in 6th with 2 points. Then Williams and Alpine 7th and 8th with 1 point. Then Audi, Aston, Haas and Cadillac are the only teams that haven't scored points yet. But that is China done. It's quite a long video done. If you did enjoy, like and subscribe. We have got more coming out tomorrow. I am sure of it. But from me, thank you all for watching. Ciao, adios. I will see you all for the next one.